Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is a chair yoga practice, and so I hope what you find here will be enlightening a little bit. The huge variety of things that you can do just with a chair. Sitting on it, turning every which way, and also for a little bit standing where we'll have our hands on the chair at the same time. This is really good for people that may have limitations in the strength of certain body parts or some joint limitations. What kind of chair should you have? Well, any chair will do, preferably a chair, not a sofa. But one thing that is a little helpful is if it is armless, because there are times where we will want to do some things where we're turning to the side or hold on to the chair itself. And it does help if those arms aren't in the way. Not the end of the world if you don't have a chair without arms. Okay, I want to begin with just a little bit of setup. If you are sitting back against the chair, which you probably are, I want you to sit a little bit away from it, because if this were our standard class and we were seated on the floor, I would ask you to ground and sit tall. And so I want the same thing here. Away from the back so that you're encouraging yourself to sit with great posture. Nice. Feel your rooted hips. Feel nice and tall. Feel light at the top. And take a few breaths. Go ahead, smoothly inhale. Smoothly exhale and try to even those out a little bit. Just getting yourself a little bit more centered. So you can do all of the same things here as we would do on the floor. And I want you to also, and then open your eyes if they're not, give yourself just a little sway side to side. This is nice to explore what it is to find you're perfectly centered and supported. Sway front and back. Nice to do if we spend a lot of time sitting, with backs against chairs, sofas, etc. We lose our awareness and our strength along our spinal column. I want to begin with a few small joint warm-ups. Start from small, get a little larger. Bring your hands on out here. We're going to warm up the wrist. Point your fingertips toward the wrist and then really open those hands, okay? Then close your whole hand around that fist and give it a good squeeze. Open again. Now turn those down. Do the same thing. Fingers up towards the wrist, open big, and then around that whole hand, give a nice squeeze, open. Now, take the wrists and the shoulders and give me whatever kind of free form warming is going to feel right for you. Beautiful. And then I'd like to go ahead and leave the arms up for a spell. Now, if you have shoulder limitations, just go where you're able to do. But if you are okay with it, really reach and squeeze. Squeeze your shoulders. Okay, nice. And then go ahead and hold the sky. From here, I'd like you to lift your heart just a little bit more too. So you already feel how we're bringing warmth into the big shoulder joints. Go ahead and place the hands on the knees. And I'd like to do a few neck warm-ups as well. So starting very gently, just take your ear towards your shoulder and maybe a light touch, a finger's touch here. And then maybe if you explore with your arm out at the side, you're going to feel this little motion. You're going to feel this big time. Stretch. Okay. And then let's do the other side. Bring this over. Maybe just a light assistance. And then these tiny circles over here. Oh man, I feel that come right down the side there. So nice. And let's just do a few, come back to nice centered. And then take the chin up to the sky and feel like you are stretching the throat, not like you're crunching behind you. All right. Then take the chin down and it feels like you're stretching the back of your neck. We'll do that a few times. Chin up. Exhale. Chin down. Let's do one more round at that. Chin up. And down. And then come to center. Good. Let's go back to warming these shoulders a little bit more. Take your hands into heart center. And when you inhale, like you'd come back and spread those arms wide like they were before, real big. And as you exhale, drive it into the heart center. So what this does is helps to try to spread our energy out to our very edges. Okay? Bring it back in. Let's keep some activity in our abdominals, nice and tall still. Okay, don't let yourself slouch. And then let's do one. You're still inhaling, exhaling. Inhale out. And now hold the breath in for a moment. Hold it in. And then drive that down through the middle. When we hold our breath in briefly, we build some nice energy. Moving on a little bit, let's add a few twists to this. So take an inhale and go ahead and exhale and turn over to the right. And this is where you're going to start kind of feeling where you are able to put your hand and your arm in relation to your chair. And I'm using this opposite hand to assist in the twist. And then I'm going to keep walking this side to side, preferably exhaling as I look back. Inhale around. Okay, exhale. Go back again and sit tall. Sometimes when we twist, we have this tendency to start hunching again. Now let's go ahead and hold this side for just a moment. Inhale, be tall one more time, and then exhale. Just have a nice look back. If you haven't taken a look back, take that twist all the way through. One more breath. Good, and let's have a nice hold for the other side as well. Again, get familiar with where your chair is. Inhale, lift, exhale, turn. What I mean by that is where you are able to place your hand more or less, firmly, comfortably. Take an inhale and come back to the middle. Okay, let's go ahead and place one hand down on the side. Reach your right arm up. And reach it up nice and tall. So again, the side stretching is a great way. You can hold on, come over the top. Good, good. Now let's do that the other side. Side stretching also really elevating for our energy. Make this long first, tall, tall, belly in, and then over. And we'll flow that a few times. Inhale, come on up, and then exhale over. Here's another way to do this. Inhale if you just want to brace on your leg. Exhale, see that? And it gives me a little bit of support if I'm going to come to the side like that. Good, good. I'm going to do one more round. How about that? Up and over. Beautiful. And then go ahead, sit here. Next, I'd like you to, and I'll show you a little bit what this looks like from the side a little bit. Just keep your legs together. Come over and actually bend over your legs. You can do this a little or a lot. And this is just to open up that back. So don't be afraid to give a little motion in here. Okay. A little bit of motion. Let the head go. Feel the shoulder, backs of the shoulders open up. Then let's go ahead and press this up. We're going to do that one more time. Let's bring the arms up. That's nice. And then bring them back down. So this is kind of the equivalent of standing, going up and down. Now bring the knees wider. And I'd like to do similar. So you go to where you are able. Now, I should say that if you could also come to the floor. Or if you like to invest in a yoga block or have something that's like a block, you don't have to invest in anything. You've got something around the house. You could use it and do something like this. This is really nice. Anything that's tied to our hips, if we are sitting for a long time, they're going to get tight. So this is a nice exercise to do for that, among others. Okay. Good. And let's go ahead and come back on up. Bring those legs a little more back together. And we'll do this, what we call cat stretches. Take and pull on the hands and draw your heart forward. So go pull as far as you can. And then exhale and push. Here's where you want to be away from that back of the chair. Inhale. Okay, exhale. So you'll learn too that so much of this is stuff that you can do even if you're just sitting around watching the television or whatever you're doing throughout your day, okay? In the middle of your workday for 5 minutes. Nice. And then go ahead and sit up tall. Maybe keep your hands on your legs. I like to lean a little bit forward for this. Take just your belly and give it some circular motions. All right. And this is a yoga technique. It falls under sort of purification techniques, and it's for unleashing potential energy in your belly. Okay. Sit up tall. Take an inhale. Now, go the other way. Whichever way you were, just go around the other way. Nice. Little turn. You want to do your best to isolate it at the bottom. Now let's go ahead and turn up. Okay, I'm going to move on. This is actually my favorite part of class, where we do the poses that are standing poses, but in the chair. We're going to start with what's called Warrior 2. I'd like you to take your right leg out to the side, and it's just nice and 90 degrees like this. Learn what your chair does. This leg, I would like to be out here somewhere, all right? Feel like this is supportive. Knee goes over toe. This width is going to depend on you. And we're going to do some warriors and things like that. So take your arms on out. And for this one, in a classic warrior, this arm goes pretty much straight over that leg, knee, foot. So go ahead and just be tall. And in time, the more towards the edge of the chair you can get, the better on this. Don't fall off. Don't fall off. Be tall. Good. And then let's go ahead and lift on up. So you rest this arm and lift through this. Open those ribs for me one more time. Good. And I'm going to flow this between something else too. So go ahead, you put your arm down on here and then you bring the other arm up overhead. So let's go between those two here. Put it down. Good. Exhale. You can inhale as you move over. Exhale. If yoga is new to you, then this breath cycle is something I would really like you to learn. Let's hold here. It's a real hallmark of yoga practice. Bring yourself inward to focus. In these moments where you feel like you're not doing much, or if the mind wanders, let it wander back onto the breath. And let's go ahead, come on out again. And I'm going to take this one notch further. So here's one of the reasons why not having arms on it is good, because I want to come fully sideways and then do a lunge. You probably have to hold on to the back of the chair. Now, this is a lunge that's not getting much stretch. I want to go, potentially as far back as I can. And again, you're not sliding off the chair. See that? I'm holding on. And so just go ahead and have a nice stretch here. And again, maybe yours looks different. You could even send the arm up if you like, but you've got the support. You could even kind of, give some kicks in and out of that. All right. Now, I'd like to add one more element to this. You're going to go ahead and turn towards the back of the chair and just add a little twist to it. So bring your hands onto the chair here and look back. So you're twisting, but be tall. Notice if your spine wants to just kind of start to round, and be tall again, up and away. Good. Let's come back round with that. Back round to the side and do one more of an inner thigh stretch here. Inner thigh, come forward. So you could do it as simply as this. This mimics some of our squats that we might do on the floor. But again, you could also, I encourage you to start coming deeper into these things as they are available to you, because that's good progress. The better shape we can keep our hips in, the more agile we are when we encounter unexpected things in our life. Let's go ahead and do those standing poses the other way. Okay, the Warrior two on this side. Again, I want this to be nice and 90 degrees. And this one goes out kind of long. And again, I'm always kind of coming right to the edge of that chair. Firm. Arms out. So you saw last time how I had palms up. You can kind of see what the difference is. I feel like palms down is a little more work on the shoulders. A little. I mean, feel it for yourself. A little bit more light. Palms up. And in this pose, we also use our eye gaze off the end of those fingers. Smooth breathing. Okay, let's rest this arm back here and lift on up, open the ribs. And we're challenging ourselves always to resist gravity instead of, everything working upwards. And we'll flow between two things. Elbow down, come over a few times. Inhale, come on up. And go for the reach. Nice. The next time, let's hold over the top here. Let's hold. Go reach. And it's easy to start kind of collapsing on this kind of, rest there. Again, try not to. Engage your sides. Beautiful. And again, if you have shoulder issues, you just maybe, if you can't reach up, even just kind of practicing some strength out there, that's fine. Let's turn fully sideways. Again, lunge. Like so. Hold the back of the chair. A little bit or a lot. Okay. And if you can imagine, in our standard yoga classes, everything I'm doing here is done almost exactly the same, except my booty's not on that chair. All right. If you want, you can lift. A little bit of motion back there is fine. Find your way. Find your way. Remember, your first time through on something too can be really strange and difficult. You're still understanding what I'm saying, what your body's doing. Okay. And then let's see if we can turn to the back of the chair. Put both hands on the back seat. As you twist, maybe you kind of encourage the belly to draw back on the exhale. Nice. Come carefully around to the side again, to the front, I should say. And then we're going to stand up. Okay, I'd like you to join me at the back of your chair. We're going to start with a version of what we call down dog. Maybe you've heard of that. And it really is just about the stretching of the legs. So I want you to put your hands on the back of the chair and test the waters. See how far you can walk away. See how my legs stay pretty straight. And keep pushing and give yourself the biggest leg stretch that you can get. I'm going to hang here for a little bit. And this is a naturally tight spot for a lot of us. Maybe you need to move a little bit. You could even kind of alternate. But eventually you want to settle in. And over time, maybe in the beginning, you need to hang out a little closer. In time, you might be able to back it up and bring your chest a little bit lower as well. Hopefully that chair is not going anywhere. Okay. But I like a nice few breaths here because it's a really tight spot for us and we can really benefit from opening that up. Tight from chair sitting. Let's go ahead and take a walk back in, and then here you have a light touch here. I just want to have some heel raises. So go up onto the toes best you can, doing a few things from the back, and then we will walk around front. Nice. And we can absolutely practice some balance here too. So what I want to do is a little tree pose. And you're going to stand on your left leg. And a tree pose is kind of about turning this out. Just turn so you can see me the best. and eventually bringing it up the leg. So maybe your foot against your calf, not real heavy. All right. And then maybe involving an arm with it as well. Good. If you had your both hands here, you could also play with different arms going up or here for as long as you like. So if you have vertigo or issues with strength here, then you can just take it real easy with the hands on the chair. Okay. Now we're going to switch that. I want you to stand on the left leg, and you don't have to move your chair. I'm just moving so that I can show you the best. I want you to stand on the left leg next and take your other leg back. And you could even be a little bit away from the chair. And now it's a different kind of balance. You're going to feel you need a little strength in your back, in your front. And this one too, you could even do maybe an opposite arm lift. And you can make this a fair amount of work. And we're going to bring that all back in again. And now just come back to the back of the chair and give me wide legs. Wide out, as wide as you feel comfortable. And we're going to try and leave the chair for just a sec. Give me a little star. And then exhale, sit any amount. Okay, a little star pose. This one is called Goddess. Everyone's situation is going to look a little bit different. One more. Take your time. And then I would like to hold a bit of a squat there. Send the knees out a little bit wide. A little bit of fire in those thighs. Ooh. Holding it to a good edge and then come back in with ease. Next, I want to walk around to the front of the chair. So ideally, so that you can step one foot. So you see, we're going to do a triangle and pyramid here so that you can step in front of the chair and the other one is behind you. And then you're going to take your fist onto the seat. So why fist? Well, if you have wrist sensitivity, that's one reason. Also, wrists brings you a little bit lower. What if I also, if I can't reach down that far, I can grab my other support, something that'll lift us up. And on this one, go ahead and swivel your hips a little bit and really feel this. So if you press into that front foot, even just a little bit more, you can feel a nice stretch happen there. And then I'd like to see if we can't do a little bit of an element of triangle to this too. So triangle would be maybe if you just take your back arm to the chair and start turning towards the back of the chair. If you're feeling secure, you might even, take wider stances as you're able. You might even be able to reach up to the sky. So you're reaching towards the back of the chair. If that's too much for the shoulder, again, you can rest that hand down or even kind of back behind you like so. Try to keep a long back. Okay. Let's bring this back. Come carefully back on up. We're going to do all of that again for the other side. So one more down dog. Let's take and walk away. Walk away from this. Back it up, and give me a nice leg stretch to the depth that is right for you. Maybe the second time you find you're a little warmer, get a little deeper. One other thing to note too is that, I feel it when I'm teaching like this and I'm turning my head. It just reminds me that a lot of that looking to the side isn't great for your neck. So keep it to a minimum. Keep your neck long. Okay, let's come in again to do your other tree pose. So again, that tree. Now let's go ahead and stand on your left leg, and you're going to just do the other side. Get the one you didn't do last time. And again, tree is kind of about turning this out to the side, planted, and then a little bit lift. If you like to add some kind of alternate arm lift, really great. So if you live in cold climates like I do, and there's a little bit of iciness out there sometimes, all that, skill, strength, and resiliency helps in some way once in a while. Okay. Okay, let's come on out of that. Give the ankle a break if it ever needs it. Use the chair for the other one. So change legs. So you're going to stand on the right and take that leg back. And now I'm tipping. Any amount here or opposites. Nice. And you can go back between things. You'll notice if you do this a few times in a row, you will get stronger relatively quickly on things. Let's walk this back in. One more time, I'd like to do the goddess squat 2. Take it on out. And then just give me a nice sit. Okay? Where is it that you belong? And if you're feeling, this could be if you're a person who is wanting to build strength and become, liberated from the chair, then, take moments to try to do so. But if you know you need it, it's always there. Let's walk back around now to the other side of the chair and into the front. Again, I'm going to step one leg fully in front of the seat, and the other one back. They're on 2 lanes. And then the hands go down. Give me a little bit of shimmy in the hips there so that you're feeling some stretch. And then be long. Come back into your breath. If you do this multiple times, just keep kind of walking down. Keep trying to go a little bit deeper as you gain flexibility. Yeah. Okay, we're going to see if we can add some of that triangle essence. You're going to turn towards the back of your chair. So maybe it's just hand to the upper part of the back of the chair, or up, or hand to your low back. Make sure that hand that's on the seat isn't going to slip anywhere. Good. And let's come back around. Walk out with care and up. And here's the one thing I want you to do it's the one thing we're going to do where we're not supported at all. Ironically, I want you to come back around in front of your chair. And then in yoga, we have a pose called chair pose. You are going to hover, hold it. So maybe you're up high in a high chair. Maybe you're kind of hovering close to the seat. I'm going to fire these up. Okay. Just take a sec, squeeze, hold. Okay. And then let it down. Oh my gosh. Nice. That is the bulk of our real energetic stuff. Now let's move on to do just a little bit of core exercises and some twisting. Okay. Back at our seat here, I want to do a few things for our little core and see if you can hold on to the sides of your chair somewhere. And what you're going to be doing is lifting your booty. So take a good grip, take an inhale. And as you exhale, press and lift your hips up a little bit. Okay, then inhale, sit. Again, we'll do it a few times. Exhale, lift your hips, squeeze. You got to press. You got to use your shoulders. And you got to bring your belly in and up. Do it again. Exhale, lift. Okay. And then pause for a moment. Doing as many of these as you can. I want to hold one next. So get ready. Take a nice inhale. As you exhale, push. Okay. Now, as this stuff gets more strong, you can put down when you need to. As this stuff gets stronger, talking about your core and your hands and your arms, I always use my arms to help me stand up. So if I'm sitting in a chair, half of my standing up is actually using my arms. FYI. Okay, let's do this little flow. Take and kick one leg forward in the opposite arm. Bring it down. Okay, inhale, lift, exhale down. A few times, warm everything up. Stay sitting upright. Now let's go ahead and hold that one open. If you can keep it in the air, give me a few kind of rotations. And this is working from the hip here. If that doesn't feel great, you can put it down and do this from the edge of your seat, okay? Then let's all put it down. Now I'm going to show you from a little bit of an angle. All put it down. It probably will feel the best if you're at the edge of your chair. Come forward and then just give me that nice stretch, that long stretch over that foot. And two, this is something that, okay, maybe you're here today. Maybe I have a progression in the future where I'm like, so maybe eventually I get to a place where I'm, really encouraging a deeper stretch. You can keep it gentle. And I like to hold, anytime stuff feels really tight, I really like to hold it for a good number of breaths. Otherwise, how is it ever going to get better, right? Okay. Let's walk that back in. I'm going to do what's called a boat pose. So yeah, you sit fairly well forward and then put your hands behind you. Easiest boat is going to be just lift onto your toes and just notice. So you're kind of suspended one way on the other. And it's like you're trying to lift your feet and you got to be strong here. Okay. I'm not leaning on the chair. Get away from it. So if you need more support, put more weight in the feet. Eventually, you might be able to do a little lift. Oh, gosh. See, I can be just as cruel in the chair as I am in a regular class. All right, I'm just going to stay right here. Let's do the other side. Extend the other leg and turn it out. A few out and in, out and in. And that can be done with the foot on the floor as well. That's where we're going. I want to place that heel down, get to the edge, and now have the stretch for that leg. Finding your way. And so this class is, it's under an hour. Once a week just to do this for yourself, more than once a week. I also, let me be clear about this. No one ever said you had to do the whole class. Keep track of the link for this class. Do the parts that you feel like you need in a day. Maybe you just want the kind of warming stuff. Maybe you want the seated standing. Maybe you want the standing. Maybe you want the stuff at the end of class, which is more core, some flexibility. All right, let's go ahead, walk that back up. And I want to do one more boat. Again, at the edge, don't put your back against the end and then start lifting onto your toes. So you use as much of your hands and toes as you need, but eventually less and less of it. Whew. And every pose we're doing is a real yoga pose, okay? These are versions of what we do on the mat. Beautiful. Come on in. I'm going to come back a little bit more centered here, and let's take a moment. Reset. You can always have a moment where you feel your nice posture. Again, this whole time, pretty much I'm staying away from the back of the seat. Although, moving on, we may just kind of rest it. I want you to take your right leg. There's a few options. If you want to cross here, it depends on how open this hip is, or something like your ankle to knee. The more flexible you are, the more this is going to open out. Go ahead and push your hips now way, way back and just give yourself that support. And open. Maybe you even allow it to bounce. Don't get preoccupied with any limitations that you may think you have in this. All practice is good practice. Just kind of let that open. Again, having a few breaths. I've been practicing some hip flexibility for some time, and with regularity, it really does change what you are able to do. Then the second you stop doing it, it all snaps back, I'm sorry to say, the truth of it. So from this, let's go ahead and take this down. And I want to hold a twist like we had in the beginning. So go ahead and turn to one side, really find, and go ahead, come back against the back now. And now find a place where the arm settles, just nice and settled. Cross this arm over, inhale, lift up, and then use this arm to turn a little bit back. Now take your eyes and look back and don't let them wander. Just let them settle. Continue to breathe smoothly and be tall. Now stay where you are for a sec and only move where you're looking, take your chin and your eyes and move front. So the only thing I moved was my head. Now take an inhale, be tall. Exhale, you're turning back, looking front. As always, everything I'm doing here, let's come back to the middle. Everything I'm doing here should be followed with an asterisk that says, not if you have, issues around that area of your body. Let's go to the other side. Okay. Find your arm placement. Set that front. Be tall. Go ahead and lean back on this one. And then exhale. Turn. Come inwards. It's important for us to move the spine in every direction. Come forward. Let's get the other hip opener. So whichever side you did not do last time, maybe you want to either cross. All right. Bring the ankle more towards the knee or even more. Don't worry if this knee is high. If you're not experiencing any pain, it's okay. Work where it is. You may find that in time, it will start to go down. And I've always got kind of one side is different than the other. Don't want to say better and worse. It's different than the other. Did you know that when you do things both equally right and left, then you're bringing them a little closer. And sometimes if maybe we have a history of injury that's affecting a joint somewhere, it doesn't hurt to spend just a tad more time sometimes on the side that needs more work. Let's go ahead and return. Let's do a few what we call thread the needles here. You can actually come forward onto your legs right here. And then take one arm up and then thread through. And you might even be able to, so this one's just kind of secure. You might even be able to just kind of let yourself fall that way and just turn. It's a nice shoulder opener. Try not to let your head, just drop. Just keep it turning gently. All right. Let's come back on up. Maybe do another kind of it's always like a reset moment. Back down and then do the other side. the red, and then see, ooh, can I let myself just kind of fall? See my shoulder kind of goes onto the knee there. Look to the side. Last breath. Okay, come back on up. Okay, right. Let's do a little bit of back strengthening. Here is the really juicy stuff for when you have chairs sitting in your life. Again, let's be a little bit more forward. I want you to reach behind you, grasp the chair, and really, so you can even start by being as far forward as you can, but then even then, open your shoulders and lift your heart. See this? This is called camel. Don't be looking to the side too much. As you breathe, really be strong in your abdomen here. This one right here, I'm going to say, if you're taking breaks from your life, this is the one. We get really weak in our back and the spine. Let's go ahead and come out of that. If we're sitting a lot, it's a lot of this. So to counter that, we want to do more of that. All right, for a moment, just go ahead and drape over those legs again. Feel that nice expansion. Kind of like our child's pose when we're on the floor. Good. And let's go ahead and come on up. I think I would like to do some social media posts showing the version of this versus the standing and just how well we can adapt. Let's do one more back exercise. This one's going to feel different. So come on all the way forward like so. Now you're going to use your back strength. I want you to draw your heart forward, squeeze your shoulders back, and lift, lift, lift. Now this one should feel like it requires more strength, okay? You got to take those shoulder blades back, roll the arms back, look up, and you're lifting away from the earth. Nice. One more time, maybe. You can either do it, I'll give you a choice, knees together or knees wide. One more. Drop down. Let go. Just let go fully. Real ragdoll. Let's go ahead, come back on up. Right. Let's take the off ramp on our practice. Just going to do a few things that I want you to really focus on being slow and easy. Maybe bringing back some of the things that we've done today. Inhaling up over and exhale. So I'm going to encourage you to really move with the breath. Inhale. All right. Exhale. One more round. When we do that, we send a signal to the mind to also calm down. Come back to center, and let's do a few rounds of that cat stretch. So again, you inhale, you pull forward, heart forward, and you exhale and you round. So everything that you do right now should be less about exercise and more about just feeling great and becoming more relaxed. We always strive for balance. Last one, exhale. And then go ahead and make sure that you're sitting against the back of your chair again. But just, don't try not to let yourself collapse. Be a tiny bit alert and just rest your hands And come inside for a moment. Go ahead and close your eyes. And now watch your breath. Just let the breath be effortless. We take this time for several reasons. The first is that it gives us a counterbalance to all of the work that we did. Balancing work with recovery. Another reason is that practicing this stillness is good for our nervous system. Recall all of the things in your life that lead you to be constantly activated, feeling busy, feeling anxious. And it's no good if our majority of our life is spent in that state. We can use times like this to counterbalance, to be in the opposite state. Watching the natural wave that moves through the body as you breathe. Your ability to command your breath leads to a change in your state of body and state of mind. Now, remember, you can do this kind of rest anytime, especially in a busy day. Don't think that you can't just sit or lie and have a few minutes rest. It doesn't have to be a nap, it's just a resetting of the nervous system. But when you're ready, then have a nice smooth inhale, remaining calm, nice smooth exhale, coming back to life. And then I like to finish with my hands at heart center, bow the chin in, and remind myself, keep only the goodness, only the good products of your practice. Anything that was like self-doubt or negativity that cropped up, please let it go. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. You sure can bookmark this, return to it, and play it as many times as you need. And you can always ask me questions too. I'm available all over social media or in the comments on YouTube as well. So hope you enjoy. See you next time.